Hello and welcome. You're watching Medically Speaking, and I am Meenakshi Upreti. With me, a person who knows no introduction, Dr. Vivek Nangia. He's appeared on many channels and many panels whenever we speak of COVID, respiratory diseases, and other. He's representing the max chain of hospitals today here on NewsX. Thank you, sir, and good evening. First of all, of course, my very first question, I'm sure you've anticipated it. Why are we seeing such a big rise in the number of COVID cases? 90% rise. Yes, when we look at absolute figures, it may be low, but percentage-wise, sir, it is a huge rise. Why are we seeing this sort of a rise, sir? Is there anything to worry about?
Thanks, Meenakshi. One, for having me on your show. Two, for asking a very valid question. And it's always a pleasure, to be discussing something which is very educative for general public. Now, if you go back in 2020, when this entire COVID thing started, then itself in the beginning, we in the entire fraternity had said that this is a virus which is going to stay with us. This is not a virus which is going to go away. This illness is here to stay with us. It will keep coming back to us in different forms, different variants, but it will be there in our ecology always. We have to change our lifestyle, adapt ourselves to this virus, and live accordingly. Whenever you see that there is a little bit of complacency coming in, a little bit of lack of precautions happening, the virus starts to flare up all over again. This time also, we are seeing a similar kind of a surge. I think it was just about a month back not even a month probably, when the government of Delhi said that there is no need to be wearing masks now.
Yeah.
And I think again, we've reached a stage where we'll have to make wearing masks mandatory all over again. So I think we cannot take this virus lightly at all. We have to be at it always and be following the COVID appropriate behavior all the time.
Right. And you say, sir, the mask mandate. Are you suggesting that the mask mandate needs to come back? Because end of the day, we are seeing, if not fine, people don't wear masks altogether at all, even when they are in public gatherings.
So, mask is something that I guess we'll have to accept now as a part of our attire, as a part of our day-to-day lives, and continue wearing it at least for some time in future as well. N95 mask is preferable. If you don't have an N95 mask, then double masking is a better strategy. And whether it's a mandate by the government or not, I think for our own protection, for the safety of our children, our family members, our friends, our colleagues, our loved ones, we must continue wearing these masks, especially when you are in public places, in gatherings, in overcrowded areas.
Right. So one more question, since we are seeing a spike, especially in metropolitans, you've already suggested that people wear masks. But what about booster shots? I'm sure there is, some reluctance when it comes to booster shots as well. Many feel that the variant is not as aggressive as Delta this time, perhaps. We don't know much about the XC variant also. So there is some sort of reluctance and hesitancy as far as getting booster shot amidst the adult population is also concerned. What would you like to say on that front, sir?
See, there are enough studies now which have actually shown that with the use of vaccines, the people did acquire the disease, but the disease was very, very mild. They did acquire the virus, but it did not lead to a severe illness. So this is being proven beyond doubt now. So if you want to keep yourself safe, you should take the vaccine without giving it a second thought.
Right. You say that
to promote this concept all over again, that it's almost like reinventing the wheel when you talk about the vaccination, even at this stage, because vaccines have proven themselves over a period of time that in the large section of people who receive the vaccination, it has been seen that whenever the illness happens, it's only a mild illness, if at all it happens. And to say that Omicron in any case is a mild variant, maybe it is a mild variant because we have been vaccinated already. And even in Delhi, there was a large chunk of people who did get affected by the Delta variant. So keeping that in mind, and then the vaccination, I think maybe that is the reason why this variant is behaving so mildly with us.
Right.
Otherwise, even if it is mild in a larger population, there would still be a small percentage of people who would develop a severe illness. And there would be some deaths also that are happening. If you see the statistics now, there have been 2-3 deaths which have been reported from Delhi alone, and across the country, probably 200 plus deaths that have occurred because of COVID. So why has that happened? That has happened primarily because These were people who developed a severe illness. So people who are immunocompromised, elders, they are
Yeah.
more likely to develop a severe illness. So for their sake, one, they should also be vaccinated, and the people around them should also be vaccinated.
So as of now, what do we know about the XC variant? Is there anything, as I asked earlier, for us to worry about? Because again, the genomic sequencing has not been fully done. But what is there right now in the public domain?
So whatever we know so far is that XC variant is definitely more transmissible even than what Omicron was, and definitely much more than was Delta was. So irrespective of how severity of illness it would be, let me tell you that, as of now, what we're seeing is that as compared to what was happening in Jan and February, the
Hmm.
people developing only a low grade fever, 99, 100-ish, which was going off within 3 to 5 days, not causing much of a problem. But this time around, we're seeing fever is going up to 102, 103, and lasting for almost 5 to 7 days. I have a couple of patients where fever has still not settled on the 10th day also.
Hmm.
So you really can't say that this is going to behave exactly how Omicron behaved in January. Maybe there is some difference, which you'll only get to know in due course of time.
Right. And, sir, as we've said time and again, as doctors like yourself, experts have been emphasizing on how we need to learn to live with coronavirus. You said mask needs to be incorporated into our daily lives. That's one aspect. Getting this booster shot, considering that now it's available, but what's the way forward? I'm sure you're hearing this from your patients as well. The doctor, we are tired of coronavirus. We want to go back to our normal lives. Schools keep opening, then every second day we keep shutting down schools. What do you see, sir, as an expert, the way forward for India?
Yeah, I fully agree with you that all this fatigue is setting in, and it's not just setting in lay public, but also amongst professionals like us, where we also getting tired of COVID, and COVID. Time and again it is coming back, but I guess we have no choice. We have to get used to it. We have to learn to live with it. This virus is here to stay with us. It has entered into our ecology. Soon it will probably become endemic also. Once it becomes endemic, then probably it will be easier for us to live with it. Till then, I guess we have no choice but to follow all these precautions of social distancing, hand hygiene, mask, and vaccination. Vaccination form a very important part of a preventive strategy against this coronavirus.
Right. And so, one more question, since we are speaking of variations and living with COVID, and the way forward, many already talking about the fourth wave. Now, there are reports which have contradicted it. There are some one IIT survey which says there is a possibility. What do you think, sir? Possible a fourth wave, considering if you look at the Zero survey and, of course, a number of people vaccinated, that seems to be in the right direction.
See, basically, fourth wave would mean when a larger number of people are getting affected and the disease is spreading. Well, definitely there's a huge potential that if we continue to progress like this, as far as the Omicron XE variant is concerned, then we are heading towards a fourth wave. But I guess this is the time where we need to start following the precautions all over again, not
Hmm.
go to any state of complacency and allow this virus to overpower us all over again.
Right. And so you say we shouldn't go into state of complacency. Just for that, if you could describe, you said there are people, who are even reporting 104 and 5 fever, who are being admitted in the hospital as well. What is the pattern which you are seeing this time around? And I ask this specifically because the reason for this complacency to set in is because of our belief that this new variant is mild in nature. And secondly, of course, we all believe that most of us, which is actually true as well, have already been affected with COVID.
So, as I said, that people are presenting to us usually with body aches, fatigue, sore throat. This time around, the fever is slightly higher grade as compared to January. In the Delta variant, lots of people were coming down with loss of smell, loss of taste, which is missing in this
Mhm.
current variant that we are seeing. So it's and body aches are also not as much as we were seeing in January. So there is definitely a slight difference in the presentation this time. And so let's see how it pans out. I guess next couple of weeks will actually tell us that what is the clinical profile of this particular strain this time.
Right. And so before I let you go and introduce the other panelists as well, just two more questions before we let you go, sir. First question, any advice for the government be it the government of India or be it the state government, we've already seen the government reduce, the restrictions. Relaxation seems to be the way forward. End of the day, governments also have to think of boosting up the economy. So there's no doubt that, it's a catch-22 for them as well. But what would you suggest, sir, a balanced approach?
So I think the measures that we need to take are not very difficult at present. We're not asking for any kind of shutdowns. Like even in the last wave, there was no lockdowns or shutdowns in the city per se, but just a little bit of restriction in the form of wearing masks at all time, maintaining a social distance, hand hygiene. I think just that much would be sufficient be able to control this fourth wave from progressing out of hands. So if we just start following, and again, as I say, irrespective of
Mhm.
whether the government is advocating it or not, but we need to do that for our own safety. So we need to start wearing the masks all over again, and of course, booster shot of the COVID vaccination can be cost. There
Right.
should not be any hesitation. There should not be two thoughts about it. We all
So
must go and take it immediately.
booster shot, say those who got apologies, infected with COVID in the last 3 to 4 months, would you suggest that they take the booster shot as well? Because there have been a large number of cases which were reported in the Jan-Feb period and were inoculated earlier.
Absolutely. So 3 months from recovery, they should be taking the vaccination.
Okay, 3 months from recovery, you say they should be taking the vaccination. Last question, because in the next segment, we will be focusing on the psyche and psychology really of children who have started attending schools, the sort of confusion which has been prevailing in their mind. Last question, for you, sir. Why is it that we are seeing such a large number of children who are getting affected with COVID? Of course, schools have opened. Any word of advice for students and parents?
So basically, these children have just started going to school. In the schools, invariably, they're not able to follow all the possible measures that are required to be followed. So I think what is important is again that we should start educating our children about the COVID related precautions so that they strictly follow it in school. And
Okay.
also in the parents teachers meeting and visits to the school, we should ensure that all the necessary precautions of social distancing, hand hygiene, mask is being followed, that all the staff, teachers, members are all inoculated with the booster dose as well.
Right. That's forward. All right. So if I just summarize your advice, be it, I think it's very similar, be it for the adult population, for children, or even school administration, booster shots, wearing your social distancing, hand hygiene, the basics which we were taught, as the first time we had seen the first wave of coronavirus enter into India, that needs to be followed in the coming days as well. That's really the advice coming from Dr. Nangia. For now, sir, thank you for joining us on NewsX.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.